As everybody knows, I like to bitch about stuff, lots of stuff. But right now, like, one of the things outside of theme parks is AI, which I think is like horrible in the long run. It's like damaging the world, and I have a lot to say about it. But inside the tech industry, there's a lot of people. Well, inside the tech industry, for people that are not directly involved in producing AI, it's a pretty well known thing that AI is basically a big bubble, and we're talking like .com level bubble that's going to burst, because it's like one of these things where CEOs are just dumping all kinds of money into AI because they want AI to basically replace employees so that they don't have to pay so many employees. They want to reduce their labor costs. So they're just dumping money into it, even though it's not really going to pay off. But they just, it's like throw more money at it, and eventually it's going to work out. So this is like this is how you get a bubble where people just throw money into it, and it becomes a valuation of something that it's not even remotely worth. Not to mention the way that like our power bills are going up because for some reason, it's our responsibility to pay for the infrastructure that run these AI data centers that consume more power than God. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of power that AI consumes. But anyway, this week, Deutsche Bank has now issued they've issued a warning, but they've actually come out and basically said AI is a bubble, it's gonna pop, and it's going to be bad.
Did they explain the scenario of bad?
Yeah. So what they're saying is, they're basically saying that like the hardware that is being bought to throw at the AI algorithms and stuff is basically what is keeping the U.S. from being in a full recession. Which you'd say, okay, that sounds good, but the problem is I mean, a lot of people would hear that and say, oh, well, it's keeping us from a recession. But the problem is it's basically on false pretenses.
Right.
And it's basically not AI that is floating it. It's the building of AI. So you're building the factories and, the data centers and all of the infrastructure to run this AI thing that just isn't turning out to be what people think it is, or what CEOs are hoping it's going to be. And like NVIDIA, I mean, it's NVIDIA is like producing all the hardware, so like, you think, oh, if I go, people are going to get jobs at NVIDIA and think, oh, I'm set. And then all of a sudden it's just going to collapse, and there's just not going to be demand for it. And I mean, video cards will get really cheap when it pops. There will be tons of video cards available. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. One of the other side notes on this that I think is pretty funny is Microsoft has now released a new feature, I guess you'd call it, and it's basically like so. There's like vibe coding. I don't know if you've run into this much, Greg. Have you run into the vibe coding thing?
No, I haven't.
So it's basically people that have no business coding that basically engineer AI prompting to say, I need a program that does this.
Oh,
and then
yeah, I know of it, but
and then it just produces it, and it's full of bugs, and it's, if it works, it's full of bugs, and, it's just a mess. Well, Microsoft saw that and said, hey, here's an idea. What if we put all of that into Microsoft Office so that you could just say, hey, I want a PowerPoint that tells whatever bullshit story I want. And it'll produce a document, like a whole presentation for you that's just complete bullshit. No backing whatsoever. Microsoft themselves in their documentation are saying it's 57% accurate. 57% like if I went to my customers and was like, hey, when you ask me to fix one of your servers, 57% of the time I'll get that right. I don't think I'd have customers very long.
No, you'd be out of business in a hurry. Yeah, I get all of that stuff. Where I work, we're a Google Workspace company, so we just paid out some money, I don't know how much, to have Gemini come on board for the whole company for stuff.
Oh, Lord.
And so I've been testing it out. The world I live in is SAP, for anybody who knows what that is. And so I'll put in there, hey, I need to try and do this, and I'll explain what it is I'm doing, and ask it to come up with suggestions on how to best code it. And it's pretty funny what it comes back with. Sometimes it does a good job of steering me in the right direction, but it's never, right. And it'll come up with like, do this, click on this menu, do that. And you look at it like, that menu doesn't even exist, or that function isn't a real function. So then you type back in to it and say, that doesn't exist. You call them out for it. And they try to be all cutesy, and they come up, oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. Literally, that's what it'll come back with and say, and then come up with some other alternative until you trap it to the point where it finally says, well, I give up. I don't know. So, yeah, that doesn't help a whole lot.
Yeah, we went through this, right when ChatGPT was first coming out, back on Coaster Talk, we actually did a show where we interviewed ChatGPT in a sense, and we basically were just asking it all these questions about the industry, and like it was getting everything wrong, and then we would tell it like, no, you're wrong. This is like one of the things is like, oh, who hosts Coaster Talk podcast, and it would like. Sometimes it would say all three of our names. Sometimes it wouldn't. And then randomly out of nowhere, it pulled in somebody named Bobby Butterfield. And I'm like, that is not my name. And the funny thing is, there is actually a Bobby Butterfield that does roller coaster articles somewhere that we eventually found. And it was like, I don't even know how it drew that connection. And it was just randomly, it was just all over the place. But it was even back then in its early days, it was still in that you would say, no, I think you're wrong. I think it's this. Oh, yes, that was my mistake. It's, blah, blah. It's like, it just, literally, it's all just the predictive text. The whole autocorrect thing, when you send a text and half the time your text goes through with the wrong words, maybe even the wrong sentence. And that's literally what we're calling AI now is not really AI. It's LLM, large language model. And it's literally just that. It's it's looking at conversations that have happened in the past and saying, oh, well, the next logical response to this conversation is this. And that's what it's giving. It's not based on reality. It's not based on it. And that's why you have these hallucinations, and it just does, it's like, oh, well, you want this? Okay, we'll give it to you. And it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong.
Right, it just spews it out.
I was even reading something where it's there's now also a feedback loop happening where AI is producing websites, and then other AI is picking up those websites and using it as training data.
Oh, God.
So, we're in for a really rough future. That's.
I'll be interested next year to see what happens, because we are going to upgrade to the latest, greatest for SAP. And a part of that will be SAP's own version of AI. They call it Joule, Joule. But, obviously it's supposed to be specific to SAP-related assistance, right? So, and which could be a really good thing, because finding your way through their technical documentation is a real study in patience. The information is probably out there, but it might take you 3 days to find it. So I have a faint, small hope that this may help with that sort of thing. But I'll be interested to see how well it does with specific code questions specific to the type of technology that SAP uses.
I imagine it's probably not really their own AI. It's just a spin-off of one of the existing AI platforms, and just they're trying to close
either
the training
that or somebody
data.
they just gobbled up and bought out because that's what they do,
Yeah.
So We'll see. I'll report back about a year from now and tell you what it was like.
Well, by that time, side friction will be replaced by bots. The three of us won't be doing anything. It'll be just our virtual selves having arguments with each other.
It'll have learned enough about our personalities.
Well, that's actually the scary thing about it is I was just having a conversation with my sister, who's a teacher. And she was saying how I was talking about this similar thing, like the Microsoft stuff. And she's like, it's such a pain. Like her whole school uses Microsoft and everything. And the thing about Microsoft is nothing. They're getting it so that nothing is saved on your local computer. Like everything is copied to their cloud, and then everything in their cloud is used for training data. So the thing that people don't sit back and realize is the reality of this is like, say, you're a teacher, you're dealing with students' records and stuff like that, right? Now, all of this information is in the cloud. Some random person somewhere may ask Microsoft's AI a question about something, and it could hallucinate information about a real child. And that information can be leaked, not intentionally, but the AI just pulls its training data from whatever, and then it pulls its information from whatever it knows. So if it knows about, all of this child's private information, there's not really a whole lot that can say, oh yeah, well that's definitely not going to leak it somewhere else. We've already seen where, I think it was Grok, the Elon's bot, that was all of a sudden it started sharing snippets of other people's chats that were clearly private chats, and other people were just randomly getting snippets of those chats. And it's a scary thing. It's a really scary thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the AI, the only model we have is the one that is where it's this basically, like you're saying, it's predictive text. It's that speech prediction, whatever it is, because everyone has warned that once we get sentient level intelligence, pretty much it's game over, right? That's what everyone's afraid of.
That's what everyone's afraid of, but I don't think I don't know that we can actually get to that level. I mean,
possibly.
The reality is, this is, if you think about a parrot, that's what this is. So parrots can seem very intelligent and very, it seems like they're reasoning, but they're responding to stimuli on everything that they do. And, they're not capable of thought in the level of where we deeply think about things. Parrots are just it's just a reactionary stimuli. So that's how they function. Everything is a reaction to them. There's no actual processing of oh, well, this means this, or those types of things. And that's what I mean, I think the thing is we're kind of calling it AI because people are hoping that somehow this parrot is going to grow into a thing that can actually think like a human being. And I don't think we're going to get there. That's my opinion. I know other people think other things, but we're going to get to places where it really looks like that. I think it's going to get better at emulating that, but the reality is I don't think it's actually going to be doing that.
And I think about thinking like a human being. Well, I know how faulty my thinking can be.
There is that too.
I don't want to be thinking like me, for sure.
One thing I thought was funny was the whole it's accurate 57% of the time. It's that is awesome. I love that. That's great, because when I decide to haul off on one of my harebrained theories, I go into the internet echo chambers I normally go to, and I'm right 100% of the time.
Right.
Which is wrong 100% of the time, depending on your perspective.
Ryan has just described social media.
Right. Strong with the echo chambers out there. But that's what they are. I mean, essentially, I do agree with that, because you go to social media, anything on the internet, really, and you dive into whatever you want to, and you will find like-minded people sitting there just going, yes, this is the way, this is correct. And you won't get opposition in those fields, you know?
Right. You want upvotes in the roller coaster sub? You say, hey, Still Vengeance is the best coaster in the world. Don't even think about it. It's big. It was built by Alan Schilke, and it's at the best park in the world, Cedar Point. How can anything be better? There is nothing that can be better than that, right? Do not try to argue with them. There's no way a wooden roller coaster in Indiana is gonna be better. Well, this is Side Friction Podcast. This is we're doing that thing like This is episode 99 of the last of the double digits.
Wow.
Yeah. This is for October 4th, 2025. I'm Bob.
I'm Greg.
I'm Ryan the Ride Mechanic.
And let's get into it. Six Flags.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Except there's no Band-Aid. It's just bleeding everywhere.
It's just blood and gore everywhere. That's why they canceled Fright Fest at Six Flags America, because they're their own Fright Fest. It's just a horror show in itself.
They are their own Fright Fest, constantly evolving.
Oh, yeah.
What is it? Fright Fest? That's a mirror. Just look at yourself.
Right. Exactly. Actually, first, let's talk about this. Show me the weather.
Oh, okay.
Start off
there
with
we go.
King's Dominion on Saturday. This would have been Saturday the 27th. They closed at 3 p.m. for inclement weather. And
must have been some really bad weather.
Yeah. So I looked at Weather Underground. They had, let me see what it was. They had a 1/10 of an inch of rain.
But it was the worst 1/10 of an inch, wasn't
it? It was terrible. Now they got
never seen anything like it.
They got the 3 p.m. correct.
What were they going to stay open till anyway if they hadn't closed? Do you know?
I don't know if they were midnight or 11 p.m. I mean,
we're into the Halloween stuff, so they would be open considerably after 3 p.m. And the rain was done by what?
Well, I don't think Fright Fest starts till or Haunt starts until 6 or 7. So
right.
Yeah. So the rain completely stopped at 3:54 p.m. No, I apologize. 4:18 p.m. It completely stopped. Winds were at 10 miles per hour. At 2:11, they had a 21 mile per hour gust, and that was the only gust all day.
Oh God!
And the low for the entire day was 67 degrees.
Now, was this one of those storms that was projected to be super bad? I'm just curious because I was doing my stuff out in California, right? And I remember 3 times specifically that there was supposed to be this big storm coming through, tons of rain, tons of wind, all sorts of hazards to it. Everyone is like, brace for impact, here it comes. And on those 3 times, the park said, you know what, we're not going to open. We're going to stay closed that day because it's supposed to be this huge, nasty storm coming in. And one time, it actually rained during that storm. The other 2 times, it was like a bright blue sunny day outside. Yeah. Every news, everything said it's going to be a number 10. It's going to be bad. And then when it actually got there wasn't even a cloud in the sky.
So their radars weren't working, and they were just throwing darts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Agencies too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was forecast or not, but like, see, that's always been a frustration of mine, though, is like, when years ago they wouldn't close, it was like, okay, storm's coming, but like, you just stay open, people would do inside things, they'd hang out, and like, I mean, even for me, some of the best days I've had at parks have been in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so that's another thing I hate is like, I hate that they close in those, because like, honestly, sometimes that can be fun.
Yeah, I said on the show about one of the best evenings I had was riding Thunderhead at Dollywood in pouring rain. Over and over again, we marathoned it. It was just so much fun, and made even more so because of the rain. It wasn't freezing cold. It didn't feel like, we were being shot with BBs like it does when you're in the rain on Millennium Force, for example. But
right, yeah,
which I've done. But
we had the best for time King's Dominion, Pantherian was closed anyway. I'm sure it broke down. So like, like, and that's the one where rain would really be a major. And well, Twisted Timbers is fun in the rain. Now they do have to go down to one train ops on it, but okay. I mean, stay open. And Grizzly and Racer, those are excellent rain coasters. Rain coasters. I love the good wooden coasters in the rain, man. That's a fun ride.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I still remember the time we load tested our RMC. It was brand new. We were just commissioning the control system. So we only had one train available, and the engineers there with the tech, and they're testing stuff, The track's cleared enough to where you can run a train around, but like the magnetic brakes aren't set to their full tension yet. Like nothing is set. It's just kind of like it's a barely limping along functioning roller coaster. And it just started pouring rain. And curiosity got them, right? They're like, dispatch. Let's see what it does.
Let's see it.
So they dispatch that thing. It's like, okay, well, what's the rain mode? Okay, they could set the lift into rain mode, but they didn't, because they're like, we don't know. Actually, well, at the time they hadn't tested rain mode, but it was like, we don't know. So let's just send it over like we've been doing. It's like, okay, pouring down rain. They sent it over. It's moving. It's cooking. It's got eggs and bacon, right? It's cooking out there. It is cooking fast. They said it came in. They knew when it came in, because it came in and blew right through the trim brakes. They told me, because I wasn't there, they told me, it said, blew through the brakes like they weren't there.
Oh, God.
When they saw that, they hit the E-stop. It blew through the mechanical brake.
Oh, God.
Blew through the transfer station drive. It blew through the station drive and ended up 3/4 of the way out of the station. Almost made it back to the lift. Oh, and because there was one train on the train, the other one wasn't even at the ride yet. They just had one to deal with, and all of us had the same exact thought. We were like, man, that would have been fun to ride on. Man, why couldn't we have gone on that? That would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know with Twisted Timbers, I know the issue is it's even in the rain, it's not unsafe. But what happens is when they're running two trains, the brake run, basically the train will overshoot the brake run occasionally by like a minute amount, just enough that the computer says, something's wrong. Right. And it shuts down, and then they have to call, maintenance has to come and reset it. Whereas if they're running in one train, it doesn't care. It's like, okay, well, there's no other train to hit. We're good. It doesn't air out in that mode. So that's why they go down to the single train ops on it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is just, and here's the worst part about this too. The time that they called it is exactly the time, because most of the time people that are going to haunt aren't going there during the day. They're going in the evening. So they're calling this at a period where there are people on their way to the park. And people will get there and, oh, wait, you're closed? What do you mean? Now we've made this trip to the park, and we're turning around and we're going back home. And then that's what causes the same thing, the thing that I've been saying about for years with them closing for winter, is that you go, okay, well, I'm not going to try that again. I'm not going to King's Dominion for haunt. I mean, I've already stopped going for winter because of the, they closed winter, which I'm sure is because they kept closing and people stopped going because, well, I'm on my way. And like, you close down and like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice.
Sorry, folks. The moose out front should have told you.
Yeah. No, the moose out front drowned. It drowned in all the rain. A tenth of an inch.
A tenth of an inch.
That's what gets me.
But they say it has to be at least half an inch to drown in? I mean, this is a tenth of an inch.
I know, like a tenth of an inch is like so minute. And it wasn't even like it was just drizzling all day. It was literally for like an hour, not even a whole hour probably, but like it was within a single hour that all of the precipitation happened.
Oh.
All the people that were going for haunt weren't even there yet. They wouldn't have even noticed.
Imagine if they worried about that in Florida where, it routinely rains multiple times a day.
Right.
Oh my God. Could you imagine if Six Flags owned a park in Florida? It would never operate.
We know why they don't now.
Yeah, clearly. Clearly. Well, in other big Six Flags news, oh God, this is completely a what could go wrong moment.
Nothing.
Land and Buildings Investment Management, together with its affiliates, blah, 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 issued a public letter to the company's shareholders detailing how Six Flags could unlock substantial value by executing a strategy to monetize its real estate while driving an operational turnaround. All right. Cut the bullshit. All they're saying is, hey, Six Flags, what you should do is sell all of your property to another company and then lease that property back from the other company that you spun off. Can we talk about California's Great America? Because this is basically what Cedar Fair did with California's Great America. They sold all the land that it was on and then leased the land back from that company. And, well, where's California's Great America going? Looks like away. And that, I mean, if they were to do this, we would absolutely see these parks just destroyed if they survived at all.
Yeah. And of course this company is going to recommend something like that because that's what they do.
Yep. It's
like if you have to have some medical care done, if you go to a surgeon, they're going to want to cut you. If you're going to go to somebody that's in radiology, they want to zap you. They're going to recommend what they know and what they do. So that's exactly what this company's doing, whether it's right or not.
Yep. And the problem is like, oh yeah, look, you got all that money for all that land, and now you're paying even more year after year to use that land that you once owned. Why would you? That's like that.
And the cost of renting that land is just going to go up. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's not like you could just pick up an amusement park and move it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. This isn't rent at your local apartment complex where if the rent gets too high, you just go down 2 blocks over and you find another apartment to go to,
But it's even worse than that because like a benefit of renting is if your hot water tank goes out, you don't have to deal with it. But in this scenario, you do because you're just renting the land. There's no actual benefit of like your landlord. Oh, well, yeah, my coaster broke down. Call the landlord. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not how it works. And yeah, exactly what you said. You can't just move it. But like, there's also there's not even that benefit of like when you're renting an apartment versus owning a house. You know, you don't even get to pawn those little tasks off.
Right, because you can't depreciate the land value now, like through your normal business taxes and stuff. You can't depreciate it because it's not yours. So you've now lost that.
Exactly. And like, okay, sure, you're spinning off that company, but that company now becomes its own entity, and they're going to want to start raising your rent.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. You know, this is what everybody says. Well, business is to make money. Well, okay. They want to make money. They're going to start raising your rent.
Raising your rent.
They're going to chase you off of your own property.
And this company isn't just some independent company making a recommendation out of the blue. They're a big stockholder in Six Flags, so they're going to get listened to.
Yep. Well, and it's also the angle that they're coming at it from. They're basically saying to all the shareholders, hey, you know how like you're losing all this money? Well, you can get it all back. So it's like, hey, let's convince Six Flags to do this. Watch the stock go up briefly, and then we sell it all, and we get our money back, and we leave.
Yeah.
And now the carcass of Six Flags will just be whatever.
Yeah.
Like that by the Ravens.
Yeah, because there's nothing good that would come out of that. Because the only reason why they say, oh, you would make more money if you sold this land off and then leased it back. Well, that means that they know that the lease would be more profitable to them. Or to whoever is doing the land leasing, you know, it's like, oh yeah, we'd make more money there. Great, do that.
Yeah, I wonder who they'd want to sell the land to. Could it be themselves?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly that. Like, I think that's the ulterior motive there. But
yeah,
like,
how much of this has to happen before it becomes insider trading?
What's insider trading? Like, does anybody even care about it? Well, I mean, anybody in like is anybody ever actually prosecuted for insider trading? Congress sure isn't.
That's true.
They're somehow they are actually exempted, which is the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Yeah, because they do it before it becomes trading.
Yeah,
it's just the insider part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is like, they put, I think they used vibe prompting to come up with these numbers because the upside to equity is 78%.
For 6 months.
Exactly. That's what you get like initially, but then, you know, in the future. But that's business now is all just short term. We don't care about the long term anymore.
Right.
And
exactly.
it's ridiculous. That's why we are in the state that we are in. Nobody thinks about the future at all. And the worst part about it is the thing that drives me nuts is that all of these companies are like basically telling the consumers, well, you're in debt and you're all this because you're not thinking of the future. It's like we're following your example. I mean, or they're following ours, I don't know. But either way, it's not good.
Yeah.
So let me go into my other rant. You know the $15 magnet? It's now $18. I swear to God. I was at Cedar Point this weekend, and you know, we rode 5 rides. We got there at 12:30. We were there till 11:30 at night. We rode 5. I think it was 5.
5 rides?
Yeah, we rode Raptor, and then we went to Top Thrill 2. Then we rode Maverick, Still Vengeance.
Well, that took about 3 hours of your day anyway.
Yeah, Still Vengeance, and then Siren's Ghost. Yeah, 5 rides.
Yep, 5 rides. Wow. About 2 hours per line?
Yeah, that's about right. Raptor. Raptor, when we were in line for Raptor, the line was moving really well. I mean, it was moving fast. And like even my niece and nephew were like, wow, this is like, we're really moving. And then about halfway through the line, the ride stopped. And I don't know if it broke down or if somebody threw up. The reason why I say threw up is because the second we got on the ride, they immediately told us to get off because somebody threw up. And what they did looked similar to what we were seeing while we were in line. So it's possible. Either way, the ride stopped for a while. And at that time, the fast lane filled up.
Oh.
And then from that point on, it took forever to get, like, the line just did not move. And I mean, that was the perfect example of how much unlimited fast lane kills the park experience. It's ridiculous because that's exactly what was happening is they were giving the fast lane priority, and then all of a sudden the standby line was just not moving, which was just so frustrating, so incredibly frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everybody's like, well, are you going to tell us?
We're just quietly sitting here waiting.
Top Thrill 2, Siren's Curse. I know you guys are waiting. But first, I'm going to tell you this. I actually found a new appreciation for Still Vengeance. Like, I don't know why. The ride I had on it was just so much better than any ride I had on it before. I don't think it's the best in the world, but I never thought it was a bad ride. But I always thought there were a lot of coasters that I liked better than it. I still think that I like Twisted Timbers slightly better than Still Vengeance, but it was a really good ride. I had a really good ride on it.
For me, Still Vengeance has always been an inconsistent ride. Sometimes it's okay, and sometimes it's fantastic, and it's not even a matter of, is it warmed up yet, morning versus afternoon or something like that. It's been real hit or miss. Because I've even been there on days when it hasn't been crowded. So it hasn't been a huge wait to go. So, let's go get on it right away. And it's been a case where the first time was great. So we thought, it's running fantastic. We'll jump back in line right away. And then the second time was not so good. It's just... I don't know how to explain it with that particular coaster, but it's just inconsistent.
My first ride that I ever had on Still Vengeance, I was pissed. I was so pissed that I rode it. I'm like, I waited 2 hours for that. I was just, and then I was like, all right, I'll ride it again. And then I was like, oh, well, that was actually really fun. So it was really weird. Like it was literally one ride right after the other. The first one was just like, I hated it. I mean, I hated it. I was mad.
I've never hated it, but there's sometimes a huge variation between how good the ride was for me.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, it was painful. That's why I hated it the first time I rode it. Like it hurt me. But then the second time it didn't. And then I could actually appreciate, the ride. So I did want to mention that. Top Thrill 2, I will say this. I rode in the back seat.
He's being very measured.
And when I hit the top hat and I was thrown out of the seat, I was like, holy shit, that was incredible.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that did anything for me on that ride. And I ended up not liking that because what happened is as I was going down, I couldn't get back in my seat. So I was basically hanging over the lap bar and like not on my seat, and it was so freaking painful. The whole twist down, I was not on my seat. I was hanging out, like literally my waist was just on the bar. I was literally hanging over the lap bar. It was horrible. But I mean the airtime was great. So I will say this: if I rode in another position on the train, okay, that airtime might have been really good, really really good. But it was rattly. It was really like And I don't like to complain about rattles, but holy shit, that thing was bad. I mean, like, really bad for a rattle. The spike really didn't do much for me. I was just like, I could get this on a drop tower. Like, it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't really do anything for me. And the launch, like, what? The launch is just pathetic. You know, people were saying like, "Oh, the backwards launch is so like." Honestly, Sandy's Blasting Bronco is so much better than Top Thrill 2. Oh God, Sandy's Blasting Bronco is just miles better than Top Thrill 2.
Where is that coaster?
Nickelodeon Universe at American Dream. It barely runs, but I actually did get to ride it, and my God, it's that coaster is amazing. I would much rather ride that. So yeah, I'm not sold. It just real like no, not sold. Siren's Curse. Holy shit.
Cedar Point doesn't deserve that coaster.
No, it doesn't. Holy shit. Okay. If it was more accessible to me, I have very little doubt that Siren's Curse would be my new Volcano.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. That ride was so, I'll bleep it. It was so f***ing good. There's just
mark that time.
There's just no other way to put it than that. I mean, and honestly, the onboard audio is like that makes it miles better because like it just sets that mood of where
yes,
you're
it
like.
Does.
It is mind blowing that ride, like and it literally is fitting exactly in where Volcano was to me. Volcano was never my number one coaster. It never was number one on my list, but it was always my favorite coaster because every time I rode it, I got off with a smile. There was no way that I could ride that ride without being made happy, no matter what was going on in my life. And there's very few coasters that can do that. Volcano always did, and Siren's Curse absolutely is the same exact way. Now, in the park, I still think Maverick's number one. I just Maverick is.
If they could just figure out how to deal with the lines, because that just gets so long. It takes forever to get through. But you're right.
And here's the only reason why Siren's Curse is not like. Siren's Curse would easily be number one in the park if it was just a little bit longer. That's the thing is it's just a little too short. But my God,
it was never meant for Cedar Point,
right?
You know?
Yeah,
I was just about to say, you think this would be a different story if Cedar Point actually had the ride built for Cedar Point?
Yeah,
it would be so much worse because they wouldn't have invested in onboard audio. They wouldn't have done any of that crap. I really don't think I really think they would have just been like, oh yeah, let's just drop, whatever. But like the way the LED lighting on it, the way you drop into the tunnel and everything turns green, and just like just the whole atmosphere of that ride, I was completely blown away. I cannot say enough good about it. And
I'm surprised they did what theming they did to it too.
Well, I think that was probably all intended for Mexico and just yeah,
but they didn't have to do it in Cedar Point. Like just the way they painted the bottoms of the supports to look like they had reeds and stuff in the water and stuff like that. They could have skipped that. That wasn't there originally.
So, wasn't it? Are you sure?
Yeah, that's what people say. They're painting the supports. I was like, what do you mean they're painting? And I saw it. It's like, that's airbrushing. They're not painting. That's airbrushing. Like, they are adding legitimate
that's impressive, then.
artwork to the supports of all things.
Right. That was crazy. Not something they had to do. And it surprises me that they did.
Yeah.
But, put that at most any other park. If you threw it at Dorney Park, suddenly that park would become,
oh my God,
a real hot number.
So is the tilt coasters going to become the new boomerangs?
Certainly
I don't
better than
know.
the LSMs.
Here's the thing.
I mean, the you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the thing that here's the reason why I love the whole tilt coaster concept, and that was good. I really liked that drop. That was exciting. It was really fun. But what I took away from Siren's Curse was not the tilt. It was the ride. It was everything after that drop. The graceful flow, the just ultra smooth, just glide through everything in a, like, you feel like you're out of control without being thrown around. And like there's very few coasters that really give you that kind of feel. So but see, this is also kind of all similar to like what I experienced on Flash Vertical Velocity with the Super Boomerang. So, if we're talking about something that's just going to be bought and dropped in places, I think the Super Boomerang could be it, because I think that makes more sense for that type of an attraction. Because I have to imagine that the tilt mechanism just is a lot of money, and I could see like a lot of parks not wanting to purchase something that carries that price tag. But Vekoma, we may be having this discussion in a couple years about Vekoma being my favorite coaster manufacturer.
If they keep going on the trajectory they're on now, they will be. I have no doubt of that.
Honestly,
sure.
Flash, Vertical Velocity, and Siren's Curse have both completely blown my mind. Even having expectations going into both of them that were high, that were still exceeded, just blows my mind. Mm-hmm. There's, I can't even say that there's a lot of Intamins that do that. I mean, I love Intamin. Intamin and Gravity Group are by far my favorite manufacturers right now. But, Vekoma...
Well, next summer, we got to get you to Dollywood then. Because they're Big Bear Mountain.
Yeah,
it's a Vekoma, and I bet you will say that is the best family coaster I've ever been on. Because it's so much fun, no matter how old or young you are. And it's the same kind of thing in that you fly through the track and it's just so graceful, and the transitions and this, that, and the other thing are smooth, but there's still enough wildness to it. And it's got fantastic onboard audio that even makes you laugh with the sick jokes that they sing about. Well, he goes, we're going to bear to the left. And so, of course, you turn to the left. And, now we're going to bear to the right, and this country twang and all that stuff as you make a right-hand turn, all of that. It's corny stuff, but it just adds so much to it.
And I like that. The call of the siren as you're going up the lift hill.
Yeah, okay. Don't give anything away.
No, but just like, you almost get chills. Like, it's just like it's an experience. And oh my God, that's another aspect of it. And this is the funny thing. Flash Vertical Velocity apparently has onboard audio. When I rode it, it didn't have it. So I didn't even get the full experience. But like, the onboard audio aspect of things, parks need to realize how big of an impact that is. It's huge. It is huge, because you know what I was thinking? I was really thinking about this as we drove away from Cedar Point. And it's kind of like, if you watch TV shows or movies, there's a lot of atmospheric sounds that you don't notice. It's like there's background noise in the audio that you're not really focusing on, but it's there. And I think that's one of the biggest differences, like especially with like documentaries. You have documentaries that you're like, oh, this feels really dry. And then you have documentaries that are like, wow, that was a really good and fun and interesting documentary that was so easy to watch. And one of the, if you sit back and think of all the documentaries you've watched, I can almost guarantee you most of the ones that you say were really fun to watch have those background audio sounds in it that create an environment even though you're not aware of them.
Aware of it. Yep.
But it's there. If you listen really closely and you ignore the main dialogue, you will hear people talking in the background. You will hear a TV in the background. You'll hear, noises of traffic. You'll hear the city sound. You'll hear birds chirping. All of these things make such a huge difference in your enjoyment of a movie. And that's exactly the same way on a roller coaster. You don't think it's important because you haven't experienced it. And even when you have experienced it, you don't realize that's what's making the environment better. That's what's making the ride better. It's giving you texture. It's not just...
I just wonder, why is it taking so long for that to get out? Because Disney's been doing that for years. Space Mountain has had audio on it forever.
I think there's just a really simple answer to that. It's that it costs money. Yeah. And parks are like, well, but what we want is a ride that breaks a record. I don't care. It could be the first weird colored coaster, like whatever. Like they don't care what it is, as long as there's something that can mark, and that's it. End of story. As long as they have that point, hey, look, it's a thrill ride, and it's gonna bring people in. And that's the problem, is that there's so much focus on the headline that there's no focus on the actual enjoyment of the experience. And that's what we're missing. That's what, I mean, you look at the rides and the flat rides in Germany, they don't just push a button and let it go. No, it's a whole experience. There's sound, there's audio, there's lights, and it's all synchronized, and it's all on a plan. There's a plan, and it's a full experience. It's not just getting on a ride and being thrown around, which is fun, but when you add that environment into it, it just adds so much to it. And onboard audio really, seriously, is the easiest way to add that texture, I think.
I think Vekoma has quite the leg up on a lot of people, including Intamin, when it comes to the onboard audio, because they grew up, not fully grew up. They grew up with Disney. Mm-hmm. Disney sets an almost unachievable level of like, this is exactly how it has to be. I remember I was talking with somebody, one of the manufacturer suppliers, and they're talking about Vekoma's onboard audio and how the engineers spent so much time rebuilding the coach that you sit in. They've kept redoing the fiberglass and the way everything sits because the audio for Disney has to be at this exact level, and it has to be measured at all these different points. So the sound quality inside the cab has to be like perfect. Mm-hmm. Like Disney demands that it's got to be perfect. And then on top of that, it's got to be synced with the ride. And on top of that, it's got to last all day. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it's like it's got to be easy on maintenance. So it's like they had to hit pretty much the peak of every single hill all the way down. And it's like, okay, they got the top of everything. And I honestly don't think most companies could get that sort of result just by the occasional park saying, oh, yeah, by the way, we want onboard audio.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, great, whatever. But no, because Vekoma did everything with Disney. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, yeah. It's like, I learned how to build engines. It's like, where'd you learn how to build engines? It's like, I learned at the Ferrari plant. It's like, whoa, okay, wow.
Well, that also does kind of make me wonder if this is I wonder if there's kind of this, Vekoma is now starting to push the parks and say like, no, we're putting onboard audio on it. Because I think, I have this suspicion. I don't. This is just a gut feeling, and it's honestly nothing more than that. But I feel like they may have recognized, oh, this really does make a difference, and we want our rides to be known. So we're just going to do it. Like, this is part of the package. And I think that with like flash vertical velocity, like you're buying a Super Boomerang. Like, why is Six Flags Great Adventure going to spend money on onboard audio? I don't think they did. Now, in hindsight, now I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe this was just Vekoma. Like, no, this is the model. Like, this is what you get. Do you want it custom to something? Do you want us to integrate it into your theme? Cool. You're getting onboard audio. Whether you want it customized or not, that's up to you, but you're getting it one way or another just because it adds so much to that ride experience. And like, just thinking about Vekoma, like, I mean, there's 3 of them right there that we've just discussed, and they all have onboard audio.
Right. Yeah. I'm assuming that Circuit Breaker is going to have onboard audio too when Codaland gets that running. It'll be interesting to see what it is.
Yeah.
A bunch of engine noises
right,
as you're ripping through it, or, something else.
That could still be pretty entertaining, though.
It could.
Like,
yeah. And I mean, whatever it is, Vekoma definitely has the experience now. And I think I really do. I think this is going to be the leg up that Vekoma has. I think we really are going to see Vekoma. Like, I seriously was debating between Mach and Vekoma being the new up and coming ride manufacturer. Sorry, Mach. You got to get onboard audio if you want to beat Vekoma, because it makes a huge difference. A huge difference.
I know. Stardust Racers has onboard audio, right?
Yep.
Oh, does it? Okay. Well, then maybe Mach. Okay. Well, then maybe
Well,
Mach
no,
realizes
I think it does. I think I've read it that it does.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I honestly don't know. We'll ask Dwayne. Dwayne probably knows.
I'm like, what's the sound quality there? Because that's much harder to deal with because their vehicles are all open. Those seats are just out in the middle of nowhere. It'd be like adding onboard audio to Top Thrill 2. It's like you have nothing to reflect the sound off of.
Oh, Go ahead. Not only does Stardust Racers have onboard audio, but it switches from a daylight track to a nighttime track. It's 2 different tracks that it plays depending on whether it's light out or not.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And celestial instrumental during the day and electronic dance music theme at night. Your new career.
It's interesting.
Boxer.
Even on Velocicoaster, I've heard, just being in that line, I've heard multiple times, I've heard other people commenting on just the spiel, the pre-ride show between Claire and Owen. Owen? That's his name, right?
Yeah.
It's not, when it's night out, it's night in the video. And I've heard multiple people comment on that, oh, that's really cool. And it's just simple stuff like that. It's like nobody, you as a rider are like, oh wow, I hope that they themed everything tonight because it's night. Nobody would think that. But then when you experience, it's like, oh my God, that's cool. That's a really cool detail. But I mean, Velocicoaster doesn't have onboard audio. Imagine if it did. Man.
Right.
Retrofit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retrofit.
Is the Fast and the Furious one supposed to have?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I would assume it would.
It does. Onboard sound.
And Intamin has a pretty good onboard audio package as well. It's just, and I know Intamin also has done a lot of stuff for Disney as well, so they also have that kind of experience. But
they
recently
did
it seems like Vekoma
is
is doing a lot with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's kind of Intamin. It's like, yeah, we've done it. We've worked with Disney. Yeah, we've done the whole package. Yeah, okay. And Vekoma's like, yeah, but we've done it more.
Well, for both of them, they're cutting their teeth on it with Disney and the big budget to learn how to do it right, and then they get all the kinks worked out, and then they can offer it to everybody for less cost.
Yep. And a lot of that stuff,
learn it.
that used to hang up the audio isn't there anymore. It's like, okay, so we got in a Gerslauer spinning coaster. Gerslauer! We got in a Gerslauer spinning coaster, and we had a company called CD Ride come in and put on cameras so they could record the whole ride. All right, that was so you could buy your ride video after the ride instead of just a picture. You could buy the whole video if you wanted to. Cool, but that's another system that was put on top of it. And one of the big pain in the butt parts is that you had to plug those vehicles in every night to let them charge.
Oh.
So they can run the recording. Now, audio needs way more power than a simple camera does with a transmitter on the inside. So it's one of those things that's like, I can almost guarantee you, like, when the art of, we just use inductive charging now for everything. As soon as the vehicles come to stop and brakes, heck, even out on the track, anywhere, it just starts inductive charging those batteries again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like, cool. Schwarzkopf early on said, hey, look, we could put an alternator on the road wheels and power the lights on the train. It's like, yeah, you flat spot the crap out of those road wheels, but yeah, you can do it. Right? Good idea, just not quite there. But I feel like a lot of this, like, inductive technology, along with everything, wireless, everything, just makes these systems even more appetizing these days. And I'm sure, like from Bacoma and those people, I'm sure that if you want audio on those rides, that they will help you design the audio.
Yeah.
Or maybe even design the audio for you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think they did. They probably do have that whole department. It's like, okay, you're getting audio. What kind of audio do you want?
Yeah.
I really do feel that. I mean, maybe not. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just like they're highly suggesting it and parks are listening. But man, I mean, it adds so much to the ride experience. It actually kind of pisses me off that ride's at a Six Flags park.
I wanted it at Kennywood, so I could just go after work every day.
Right. I would have loved it at Kennywood too. Like that's in a day trip distance for me. Maybe Herschend will be like, "Hey, we want one." They could do like a Phantom theme or something. So we're getting into spooky season, and I'm not a sorry, I was just thinking about how, like, my niece and nephew, they don't like Haunt even more so than me. Like, I actually can appreciate some aspects of Haunt. I hate haunted houses and stuff, but like, I appreciate the Scare Zone's atmosphere and stuff like that. But we got off Maverick and they wanted to ride Still Vengeance, and it was that.
I know. That's the scary stretch between those two.
Right. Cedar Point starts playing the spooky music like a half hour, 45 minutes before it actually starts. Well, that music's already playing. And I'm like, all right, I'm okay with that, but you got to realize when we get off, we are going to be in the Scare Zone. There's no way around it. Like, we are going to be walking through the Scare Zone. Well, I want to ride it. Okay.
How'd that go, Bob?
That was such a fun walk away from I really honestly think that my nephew, I'm not going to say that he was happy about everything, but I think after leaving it, he had some appreciation for it, which kind of shocked me. Like, just in the way he, like, I was kind of impressed. Do I think he would voluntarily go back in a Scare Zone again? No. I will say this, though. I had fun.
Watching them?
Yes, I found a new appreciation for Scare Zones.
There you go.
But
people watching.
Man, we weren't even, like, you get off Still Vengeance, you have to cross the tracks. You're fine there. You cross the tracks, you make the turn, and it's just fog, and all you're seeing are shadows, and I'm hearing that psst, 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 and I'm like, oh my God, they're right here. Like, I knew they were right. I'm seeing the shadows move, and I'm like, guys, get ready. My sister, I love this. We're walking through here, right? And my sister's like, oh, hey, kids, I want to get your picture in front of the fog. I'm like, Carrie, you don't know. You don't know. They're not stopping. No. There's no way they're stopping. They did not stop. They kept right on walking. Oh, and they did. Oh my God. They got scared quite a few times. One was really funny, and I actually this is the part that I think LJ really appreciated, even though it scared him. This guy had the scare actor must have had like metal gloves and metal knee pads on or something, and he just did this. Like, I saw the shadow moving in the fog, and he turned, and I could tell right away he saw LJ. I could immediately tell that. And I'm like, watch out. I even told him, watch out. This guy dives out of the fog onto the ground on all fours, and sparks just start flying everywhere, like right towards him. He jumped, but like, it was one of the most creative things I've seen. Other than that, have I told you guys about the stroller that scared me at King's Dominion?
I don't think so.
Oh my God.
Stroller.
So at King's Dominion, this was years ago, but at King's Dominion, they the front of the park is I don't know if it still is, but it was at the time, it was kind of a scare zone, the entire front of the park, and they turned like all the lights off, so like all you saw were shadows, right? And I'm walking, I was there by myself, and I was walking, I don't know where I was going, but I was walking through like, the main area there. And I saw the shadow of like somebody pushing a stroller. And as I walked by them, all of a sudden, he turns the stroller and aims it at me. And the front of it is like a motorcycle with a motorcycle light and a loud horn. And it literally, in one move, he turned, and there's a bright light and a loud horn, like right in my face. Oh my God. But like, I really do.
Now you know what it feels to be like the deer that you keep hitting. Sorry.
But, like, I hated that. I hated being scared, but my God, I have such an appreciation for like that creativity. And like, I still, like, I looking back, like, that was one of the funniest things that happened to me. At the time, I was scared. Like, it freaked me out. But like, walking away from it, I was laughing because like the creativity of it and just like how, like, you have to appreciate it. Even though it scares you, you have to appreciate that creativity. But I kind of feel like that's like that moment may have, to LJ, that was his moment of like my stroller, like that guy just diving towards him. Yeah, it was, it was entertaining. But anyway, not really my speed, but I wanted to mention it because I saw this, posted on Mastodon, somebody talking about it. There's a new documentary coming out that is actually based on the first horror theme park, which was like, I mean, it's not a full installation, but this was in 1991. Spooky World launched and kept growing with celebrity appearances and stuff. It became a huge thing. And the trailer is available. There's a link on the show notes where you can see the trailer. But it is releasing... I swear I saw this on here. October 3rd. So by the time you're listening to this, we're actually recording early this week. So that's, yeah, by the time you're listening to this, it's already out. So if you're interested in horror stuff and the haunts and things like that, this is probably something you'll enjoy.
Absolutely. That's totally my son, by the way. He
really?
Loves all the horror stuff. In the garage, he went out and purchased a used chainsaw, and we removed the chain from it. So he takes that around, and during Halloween time, he will walk around and just fire that up and chase after people. His favorite thing to do is like you found out is those are called sliders.
Okay.
That's his favorite thing to do. So we have the special knee pads and gloves with metal tips on them, magnesium sparking stuff, so he can go out all fours, slide down. Now, works great in amusement parks with polished concrete. Out in the real world with non-polished concrete and rough asphalt, it doesn't work so well. So we've actually pioneered a retrofit for the system to work on rough terrain. So actually, it's really cool. It actually works really good. Where he was blowing through all these pads and stuff like super fast. Once we retrofitted them and figured everything out, they stopped wearing. I used amusement park stuff on yeah.
Okay.
When are you going to start selling them?
That's what I told him, because I'm like, you could, because the places he bought that from, it's expensive and it's not off the shelf parts really. They're kind of custom made because it's a custom industry. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you could make this stuff and just sell it and make all the money off of it. And like he doesn't want to, but I'm honestly thinking about it because I'm honestly like right there, like, maybe I want to sell it and make some money off of it, but it's not. I've already got YouTube and all that other stuff going, which eats up the majority of my time. Mm-hmm. So, like, people always ask me, like, how come you don't do more of this or more of that? It's like, YouTube is not my full-time job. I have a full-time job, and then I come home and take care of a house, and then I have kids and family and all sorts of other things to do. And then at the little tiny end of the day, there's YouTube.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
It is kind of funny how like so many people think that like the majority, if you're on YouTube, you're making money and that's your job. Like a lot of people really do believe that.
Yeah.
And yes, there are some people out there like that, but I think most have day jobs.
Yep.
So Ryan just has been finding all kinds of links to prove to the world why he doesn't like fairs.
Well, I like to give fairs the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, we've got safe stuff out there. There are good showmen out there that run around and they do good things. And then there's other things where it's like, okay, what happened? Like, what's going on here? And in this case, we have a zipper ride.
Of all rides, he had to find
a zipper, which is Bob's favorite ride, right?
Absolutely.
It goes Siren's Curse, then Zipper.
Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is in there too. Don't forget that one.
Right. But yeah, the way this looks, and
I like how they say
this was at a school, church school carnival. Is that what they were doing?
Yeah, it looks like it's like
a school carnival.
It's both. It's like a church or like a school at a church.
Yeah. School hosting a family fun day event with carnival rides and food, live music, and a petting zoo. Cool. Anyways, they had one of the cabs of the zipper almost come off, and it fell down and collided with another cab as it was going around. But one of the big things that you notice on here is that the zipper cabs are put together in pairs of 2 to make 12 cabs all the way around the ride. The one that fell did not have its receptacle on the other side. It was a pair of 1.
Oh.
And there's bracing that holds the 2 together. Basically creates 3 triangles.
Isn't it?
No,
there were.
A little hard on the.
Wait. What?
It's a very short snippet right at the beginning, but if you look at the very beginning and roll the video, there's only 11 cabs on there. There's not 12. Yeah.
So they clearly didn't put it together the way it was supposed to be put together.
I think they had one removed, and they're like, we can't connect the other one to it. So instead of removing the other one as well, they left it on there. Honestly, I think they left it in like basically storage. They're like they just didn't extend it out. And then I think it went along and basically flip-flopped and fell down on itself after running it for a while. I mean, I went so far, like I looked into this, I watched videos of the ride being put up to see all the things being done, and, you know, like, okay, make sure this is going on, that's going on. No comment from them, but I actually contacted Chance, too, because it's a Chance zipper. Mm-hmm. And I've worked on actually several Chance rides.
Yeah.
Not to mention I read through every single service bulletin that the zipper had out there. And Chance does not seem like the company, both from my personal experience and all the service bulletins. They do not seem like the company that's just like, 11 out of 12 is fine. Just go ahead and not install 1/12 of the ride. Like, they don't seem like that type of company. So although I never got an official response from Chance Rides, I'm going out on a limb myself and just saying that I bet you that they say that that's not okay to just not assemble part of their ride. Because everything in all their service bulletins is quite exacting, you know.
So that does explain,
this way, that's that way.
That was so nobody was actually riding in that car that fell. Would be
correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
we don't have the beginning to that video, so I think honestly that thing was actually stored. It was when they're stored, when they travel, they basically sit inside the ring, kind of. They sit level with the ring. I think that thing was basically stored, and they were just kind of like had it pinned there, just kind of like, it's not going to go anywhere, and then basically it came undone.
You know, the thing, I don't know anything about building a zipper. I like to ride them, but I have not built one. But there's this thing called balance.
Yeah.
Like, how... To me, it's like right off of that, forget the fact that like it's not fully put together or whatever, but like how the balance itself is going to throw this ride off, I would think.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, especially when it's talking about rider requirements, you know, everything is weight driven. So it's like 2 riders per cab. You can't go with 1 rider because, as they found out early on, if you put 1 rider in there, they could turn sideways and come out of the seat. So 2 riders, no more than 500 pounds per cab. It's like, okay, well, 500 times 12, it's 6,000 pounds, 3 tons. So the ride can handle 3 tons of movement on there. But then, like you're talking about, you're talking offset weight. Now, I've never operated one of these before, so I can't speak for exactly how much offset they can handle before it's got a problem. But I do know they run them all the time with just, you know, a couple people in them, sporadically placed out in there.
Yeah, but I would have to think that like 2 cars in the same position without weight. Well, first you're losing the weight of the car itself that's not there.
Right.
You know, I would just think that would, like, myself, I would be like, I'm not going to run it because, like, that's got to be a balance issue. Like, that would be me. Not even, you know, thinking of, like, oh, well, the manufacturer doesn't allow this, or, you know, the things like that.
Right.
Like, the balance itself, I think, would be a problem. Makes me wonder how long this ride ran that way. Like, was this,
right.
Was this the first ride of the night, or, you know,
they've been running it like that for days,
right? Yeah,
weeks.
Because you might
weeks,
see like,
maybe even,
yeah.
But like if you run it empty, you might not have a problem. But then the first time you put a full load of people in there, that might then become a problem.
Yeah. Well, with it stacked up in its storage mode, the other weird thing that they can't do is that behind the cab where it would have been poked in there and stored. Once you put the coaches out, you're supposed to install X cables behind it. Mm-hmm. And that keeps the trolleys running parallel with each other up and over the arm, because it's basically got guides, roads, and upstops. that basically run along the track on the outside. Well, everything is held parallel with each other with guide cables that are installed every single time the ride's put together. So those might not have been installed in there. Now, that's just some longevity to keep the cables running straight with each other, the cables that actually do the movement of the ride. But it's still one of those things. It's like you had to do a lot to run it in this condition.
Right, yeah.
Now, at a fair, I truly feel like people they want money. So It's like, oh, just don't run that one. Or we had to take that one off. So but in this one, it honestly probably could have been avoided just by when they took the one off to do whatever to it. It's like, should have just taken the other one off too.
Yeah. But even so, like, I don't know. Well, you read the bulletins. Is there anything that says, oh, yeah, you can run it without?
So I couldn't find a service bulletin that said, a lot of the service bulletins start with, it has come to our attention that some operators are running this or doing that. Like, I found nothing that said that they found people running it without a coach. But I also kind of assume, just an assumption, since I couldn't get the actual manual, I also assume that sort of stuff is in the manual where it says, basic operation, put the whole ride together.
Right. I mean, yeah.
If you have leftover parts, something's wrong.
Right. Like Sky Coaster, they're very specific on their stuff. They say specifically, no stunting. No stunting on the Sky Coaster. Like, if you want to do something crazy and try something fun with your friends around in the park, it's like, nope, don't do it on a Sky Coaster. They are extremely specific about that. So most manufacturers do have things like on there, like, your guests can't be drunk, and they have to be in their right mind and be able to load and unload on their own and all this other stuff. So and Chance is a good manufacturer. They've been around for a long time. Mm-hmm. I've worked on their stuff before, although I cursed their name when it came to their CP Huntington because they fit so much stuff in such a tight little area to work on their trains. Like, oh my gosh, you cannot work on those things because it's so compact. But I mean, again, I don't think Chance is saying, "Oh yeah, let's go ahead and run it without part of the ride." Great.
Yeah, well, Chance is if I had to pick a favorite flat ride manufacturer, Chance is by far it. Like, I don't think there's anybody that comes close to them. Especially their old, the things like the Zipper from like the 60s and 70s. Like, those rides are just amazing, all of them.
Oh, absolutely.
But, do you think Ryan would stop at one ride? No.
He's got another one.
He has to go and find another one.
Yeah.
This one's frightening.
Yeah, this is even scarier because there were people in the carriage, unlike with the Zipper. In Mexico, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Mexico. I can't even pronounce the name of where that's from. Anyone want to take a crack at that one?
Feria de San Miguel.
San Miguel, Arcangel, and Pottery Fair. In Guanajuato. Anyway, south of the border.
South of the border. Yeah. Yeah, they're running a booster. Now, I don't know who makes the booster. Like, at the day of we recording here, like, I just started getting this, people sending this to me. But yeah, kind of like a while back, we had that, let's see, that 360 ride. What was the name of that one? But where the arm broke in half and the whole gondola fell off. Well, the booster sits 4 people on each side of a long arm that pivots in the center. And basically one of the cabs of 4 people, that arm broke in half. And that arm came down and crashed into itself. The people did not drop to the ground, but I'm amazed no one was killed.
Yeah.
Like
the craziest thing about it, the video, is like you can see where, fortunately, it looks like the one seat was empty on that one gondola, and if somebody had been there, they probably would have been killed.
Yeah,
like it just hits. It takes a direct hit on that seat.
Yeah. I think the only thing that really saved him more is that on the it looks like the arm kind of like cracked in half, and instead of just shearing 100% of the way, where they would have fallen down, the last plate of steel on that one side basically just bent, and it kind of allowed that top part of that arm to come down straight in line with the rest of it, which was really the saving grace there, I think.
Is it that, or I was kind of thinking it might have been like some kind of cables. I see what you're talking about, though. But it does, like, it almost, like, the way it flops around, it looks like it almost has like it's held by a chain or something. You know, like where it's like completely free.
Yeah. I don't know.
But now that you mention it, though, I do. Well, yeah, I don't know. That's
the ride looks pretty stout. Again, I don't know who makes it.
I think it's KMG.
The ride looks pretty stout to the point where, you know, like some manufacturers, when they build stuff like this, it's like a pole sticking out where they put the cab on the end. And, you know, then they do have a bunch of cables to try to support that pole. But this one looks like a nice square metal arm all the way out there.
Yeah. Well, we get the
ride
point.
Accidents are no fun.
No
matter who you are.
Yeah. That's crazy. It doesn't seem like, as far as I could tell, the article doesn't really mention injuries or anything, does it? There's the translate button.
Yeah, translate again. I think there were 5 people. I mean, they counted all 5 of them had injuries that were on it.
Nobody killed, though, right? So.
Right.
No one killed. At least 5 people were injured by beatings. Of which 3 managed to get out of the attraction on their own. And 2 were rescued by civil protection.
Mine says
your translation says
blows.
Injured by beatings. Mine says blows as well.
Yeah, mine says blows.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, mine says injured by beatings. It's funny how translations work.
It is.
Well, did I tell you when I was doing my Japan trip report what Google Translate came up with for Ejanika, translating it from the characters to English? I mean, the real translation is, "Isn't it great?" But Google Translate comes up with, "Isn't it fake?" Don't know how they relate to each other, you know, but...
Yeah, at least beatings and blows are kind of the same thing, so...
Yeah.
It makes sense. It is interesting.
I mean, when you see the video, that impact was hard.
Yeah, very much
so. Oh, yeah. I don't know if this one had audio with it or not. I got it shut up, but I did see one that had audio with it, and it just kind of explosive sound when the arm hit itself.
Yeah.
There's the other interesting thing is that they actually used a drone during the they sent a drone up before rescuing just to assess the damage and everything. It's kind of an interesting thing that you actually pointed out, Ryan.
Yeah, they're rescued by civil protection personnel with support of cranes, elevators, and a drone in order to assess the damage, which makes sense. I'm amazed that whoever responded had it must be a thing now. Just have your first response drone keyed up and ready to go in the truck, which is it's really cool for situations exactly like this where you have some really weird scenario where you can't just, go, "Hey, are you okay?" It's like, get a drone, fly it around there.
If I'm reading this correctly, civil protection. Looks almost like they're like a volunteer. Like, it's basically just volunteers that were trained. I don't know. I may be right. That may be a translation thing. But it does, like, if you follow the link for civil protection there, it actually goes to somewhere that says they're about them doing courses. The main objective is to strengthen the culture of prevention and self-protection of the community of the mayor. I don't know. I'm sure there's some translation stuff going on there. Well, finally, we'll end up with some, well, good news unless you're a big fan of Cartoon Network. So Dutch Wonderland has announced that in 2026 they will present the Dutch Wonderland Inn, which clearly is going to be the Cartoon Network hotel rethemed. Which and it will have an expanded arcade as well for those that want to blow money on redemption games. If they have a pinball machine, though, we're good.
Right.
That's all I care
Everything
about.
sucks as long as there's a pinball machine. It's fine.
Exactly. Exactly. The renderings actually look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Cartoon Network hotel looked really cool. I'd never actually been in there, but I know I saw the pictures of the rooms and stuff. It was really cool. But the design of this is really neat as well. And, you know, this clearly has to be something with Herschend taking over the park. Do you think we'll see a Dream More level here, Greg?
Probably not. Especially since they say packages start at $229 a night, including 3 tickets to Dutch Wonderland. I don't know if you can even step through a door to one of the rooms at Dreamland for that price, let alone actually stay there.
I'm trying to think we did stay there. Well, I mean, I want a package for some of us. Like I want a package for Dream More, and then but we had to pay for the extra room for like all of us to go. And I'm trying to think of what it was. It was a few $100s a night. I know that. I don't know. It might not. I don't know. I could look it up. But
I'm checking out on
Are you?
Expedia
Okay.
right now. Let's see here.
$229 a night. Well, including the 3 tickets to Dutch Wonderland. That's a pretty good price, I would think.
Well, on Expedia, Dollywood's Dream More Resort on the night of October 14th is $448.
Okay, that's on par, I think.
Yeah, Heart
But
Song
you
is less expensive at $334. And that's supposedly including all of the, the tack-ons for this fee and that fee and the taxes.
Yeah, but you do get, when you stay at Dream More, though, you get the Time Saver, which is their fast lane thing. So
that's
might not be that.
No, if you're getting, those kind of perks on top of it, because they can be pretty expensive on their own.
I think you do. I think that's part. I don't quote me on that. I could be wrong.
So we'll go down there to check out the new ride next year. Stay at Dream More. Is that what you're saying? Make it a side friction field trip.
It's not going to be a Dream More. It's going to be a like $60 Wyndham hotel somewhere.
Well, if you want a really bad experience, a really, really bad experience, the Red Roof Inn right there in Pigeon Forge, worst hotel I have ever stayed at.
I don't think
Really?
I don't think I've ever stayed at a Red Roof Inn that was good. I haven't stayed at many, but
I've stayed at a couple others that were not good, but they weren't horrible. You didn't feel like something was going to eat you in the night, But this one was like that. It was just gross. But we were there for CoasterCon, and there were no other rooms to move to anywhere. By the time we realized we'd gotten ourselves into something that bad, it was Yeah. I'll never, of course, I vowed I will never stay at any place in Pigeon Forge anyway. That just is a nightmare. I'll go to Gatlinburg next time or go to the Horde of People and find a cabin.
Yeah, I don't remember where we ended up staying that way. Because when we went down there, we were going to go to Carowinds after, and then everybody decided, like, there's so much to do in Pigeon Forge. Like, let's just stay here, the rest. And so we ended up, like, we didn't have the reservations at Dreammore. We found something that, like, it was weird. It was like this, like, it was like a resort, but it was like music themed or something. I don't know. It was a very interesting place, and it was actually fairly cheap and actually really. But I don't remember. It might have been Gatlinburg. I honestly don't remember. But
well, the main drag through Pigeon Forge is just the biggest tourist trap ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
it looks like a mini Las Vegas.
Las Vegas is much nicer.
Well, no, I know.
Now, if you've ever been to the Wisconsin Dells, that's very similar. Just a whole lot of.
Let me tell you though, did you ever drift off of the strip? Pigeon Forge. I went.
Oh, Pigeon Forge. I thought it was Vegas.
Yeah. No, I've never been to Vegas, but I used to use a GPS application that I loved, but the one thing it failed at miserably is if you like searched for a location. Like if you had an address, you were good. But if you searched for
something by its name,
in this example, Dreammore, you don't really know where you were going to end up. And the banjos were loud.
Oh man!
My sister and I went to pick up food somewhere, and it was in Pigeon Forge, and we were driving back, and we forgot the address, and I put it in my GPS, and it said, "Oh, you mean this?" And I said, "Yeah." And we start driving, and it tells me to turn off. And I turn, and the road's getting more narrow and more narrow. And then it's
gravel.
Then it's dirt.
Fog starts rolling in.
And then it tells me to make a left turn.
Into a field.
Well, pretty close. The left turn that I had to make said dead end. And I was like, wait, what? And yeah, it pretty much was the field. And the weird thing is that I think that we were like not too far from where we wanted to be, except it hallucinated a road that wasn't there. And I couldn't keep driving because it clearly was a dead end. I went to see. There was no getting through. Oh my Lord. It was wow. I think the thing for me that was so shocking wasn't that I grew up in the country, so some of that is like kind of what I expect, but it was the rapid, it was like, okay, neon lights, trailers. It was just, there was a line and boom, you were in the middle of nowhere where people just had trailers in little lots on this dirt road. It just changed so rapidly. I think that's the thing that shocked me so much. And it was not we're talking the equivalent of maybe a block off of that main strip. I couldn't believe how rapidly it changed. You've been listening to Side Friction Podcast. You can follow us on Mastodon at sidefriction at worldkey.io.
You can also follow us on Instagram at Side Friction Podcast.
Or visit our website at sidefriction.com.
Look for new episodes every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see you then.